Welcome to today's webinar entitled Enhancing User Experience and Efficiency in Process Intelligence. Today's program will be presented by Dominic, Ravi, Cecilia, and Martin. Dominic, over to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And the ARIS team did it again. So we just launched our big release, the Service Release 28, and it's an honor for me and the colleagues from the product management team to talk about the great new enhancements and new features which are actually part of this new release. So I will kick it off with a short introduction, then we will look at the different exciting enhancements of the program and of the product and the newest release. And you also have a chance actually to ask questions. So don't hesitate, give feedback, ask the questions, so we will answer them and pick them up at the end of the session. So let's kick it up. So we all here, I believe, are real fans of driving the future with processes. And we see that the world is changing so much actually, and that there are so many reasons to think of how do you add value in your organizations to your customers with the services, with the products, and with the processes which really drive the change in a world which looks for productivity on the one side, resilience on the other side, and also AI. So I think this is nothing new to you. But actually, if you look at the trends that we see right now in the market, and I think nowadays, actually, it's really, really clear to everyone in a corporate environment that there's need for change. So because you really have to react on what is happening in your organization, might be economic pressure as an example, or you see, for instance, new opportunities. But still, regardless what happens, there is expected ways of working in your organizations. So you have to think actually, how do you serve your business? How do you structure the business? How do you connect the dots in the organizations? How to manage change among business processes, IT, take care of the different aspects like the risks as an example, and you're continuously thinking as well. So how can you accelerate in the future for growth, for more productivity, for instance, looking at what AI is doing. So happy that we also can pick this up today as a part of our program. And for sure, at the end of the day, you still have to make sure that you comply, because many of you are operating in regulated industries. So there might be a certain policy that you need to take care of, or a new regulation which is coming. So we talk about the regulatory tsunamis that we see actually, which really gives a lot of pressure, a lot of requirements towards the way how you're doing business. And the question that you have to answer all in your organization actually is, how do you react to that? And how can we support you with ARIS actually to react to this ever-changing world that you actually see with your business? So looking at today's program, looking at what we are trying to achieve. So we would like to help you with ARIS actually to move fast. So with your processes, but without losing control. That's the key pattern that you need to keep in mind. And if you look at the platform, and also when we deep dive into the different areas of innovation, for sure, a key piece of this is actually to monitor performance, to understand what is going on in your organization with process mining, because this gives you the details, the facts, the figures about how you actually deliver business every day. But this is not the only thing. The other thing is that you have to take care of the standards. You have to understand actually what is supposed the business to look like, and to make sure that there's a continuous life cycle in place. So we see exciting features and enhancements in that area as well. And if you think of your SS process, if you think of your to-be process as well, you for sure might also think before you implement a business process, you would like to test it, and you fail early and you make your adaptations before you implement it in your systems. So simulation is a topic that we're also going to pick up. Martin's going to talk about it later on. And last but not least, for sure, the whole backbone of your processes is not just something for the standards, for the processes, for the IT applications that you actually derive blueprints for your future business systems. It's also to manage the risk and to establish controls in your business. So risk and compliance takes an important role as well. And we will look at the different areas of enhancements that we can deliver with our newest release today. But before we look at the first part of it, I'm really excited actually to share that we again ranked as a leader in the Magic Quadrant for Gartner for process mining tools. So please also celebrate with us together, because we are very proud of that result and also would like to share that with you. Having said that, we're now ready for deep diving into the first area of the section, and Ravi. So what is new in the process mining area?
Welcome to my side, from my side as well for the latest of the releases, SR28, and what we have brought for you in ARIS process mining. For this release, we tried to bring improvements across the board, from everything that happens immediately after you bring the data to how do you consume the data and how do you interact with the models, from the insights that you have to whatever to what to also do in the ARIS dashboarding as well. So moving on. In the previous releases, we have made sure that we have improved our process extractor to having data that you can pseudonymize. And then in the last release, we have also included a new capability where you can actually get data from any cloud-based system using our HTTP extractor. Now that we have almost given you all kinds of ammunition that helps you to get the data from any kind of a primary source system that you have. The next thing that we wanted to improve is on how do you work with the data so that that becomes actionable for you to consume some insights out of it. So on that note, we have now brought improvements in our transformations and in analysis columns, the KPIs that you built essentially to consume in the dashboards, a range of improvements. These improvements actually are all about string functions, date functions, and the powerful regular expressions, which will help you essentially get through the data and figure out what exactly you want to look for and then perform your actions on it. But then that's not it. Something that's being most looking forward to from all our customers, we have now made sure that you can find the next activities and the previous activities with the power of even the filters that we have in our analysis columns. So now you can know what's the next activity, what's the previous activity, not just the next and the previous, but also next after a particular number of steps or previous from the what you're looking for. I'm pretty sure this is going to be very, very helpful. Now that you have all the scripting that you do and all the analysis column that you have, the data is ready to consume. And the first place where you have to consume is in the process mining dashboards itself. So for a while, the process mining dashboards have given you the power to actually visualize the insights that you wanted from the process data that you have collected. But then thresholds, is one of the very key additions that we have brought for this release, which will make sure that you kind of get the key details in a glance itself, will also help our customers to go ahead and have an understanding of how the data is performing against the targets that they have. So these are three kinds of thresholds that we have. It kind of helps you place a threshold on the data points itself, the backgrounds, and or even you can basically have your average, median, or whatever guiding lines that will help you get an insight in a glance itself. But that's not also always the case. Sometimes you would also have a need where you want to consume information of multiple processes in one place. And one such place is dashboarding. The dashboarding could be the powerful ARIS dashboarding itself, or any other dashboarding that you have in your corporate. It could be Power BI, Tableau, or whatever. So what we have now done is, now if you go into the data set, you have now the ability to configure something called insight links. So the insight links is basically a link that you generate within the data set of your process mining, given all the filters, configurations of the data and everything. And then you just allow this link to be consumed in the BI tool of your choice. So let's go ahead and see how this actually works. So here you see the standard ARIS process mining dataset. Now you have a new entrant here called insight links. So when you click on insight links, you have a possibility to create a link, which have already created one for here. So here, like you're configuring for any chart, you have your dimensions, measures. Of course, you can give the standard identifier names, and you basically create the data that you would want to export. But that's not it. Here you also have the ability to essentially filter out the data that you want to expose. So the approach that we have taken here is to make sure that the one who is creating this insight link that will be consumed in BI tools is essentially configuring to the bit which has to be exposed in process mining, and then the link can be consumed directly. So once you have this link created, you have two options: create an external link or create a link for the dashboard. Now that also brings me with a lot of happiness saying, now process mining data can be directly consumed in ARIS dashboarding as one of the data source. But then if you want to consume somewhere outside ARIS dashboarding, just create an external link. It's really as simple, copy, and that's it, use it. Now let's go back. So here we go. So once we have all the insights, one of the most important thing is to also understand how is your process data and the insights that you have are actually in compliant with the models that you have envisioned, while retaining the greatness of all the compliance capabilities that we have already introduced. I'm really happy to announce that now we have also added the additional capability of supporting EPC models here. So if you have EPC models, I'm sure you will love this as well. But now we have done a full circle. What next is to improve. To improve, one of the key elements is simulation that our colleague Martin will talk in a few minutes. And one of the key ideas of having simulation is to actually have the right kind of a attribute data that tells you about the times of start, end, and the medians on a particular activity here. Now, that is also something that you can basically write from the process mining itself, if you have the overlay configured. And I'll also show it to you in a second, how that looks. But before we go live, let's try and take a poll on, what you think is about our process mining itself. So here we have the poll active. Please feel free to vote on it. In the meantime, let's go for it, a live demo, see how to actually set the simulation attributes, come back and see what we have got for the polls. So let's go to the project. All right, here we go. So now if you have the process model overlay configured, now on the right bottom, you see a small new icon called Edit Simulation Attributes. The moment you click on the simulation attributes, it presents you with the default attributes that will allow you to start mapping. Let's take the example of a process time. So for this demo, we can consider activity cycle time, and let's go on to done. So here you will have an immediate list of all the activities for the particular model that you have in the overlay with a default distribution of the times. Now, you can click on anything and basically, you can change, if something is not fitting, and if you want to have a different distribution of time, and all you have to do is simply say calculate, then it's already changed. But then also make sure that you kind of save the attributes here. Our analytics does not stop within process mining itself. We have a beloved ARIS dashboarding. And our ARIS dashboarding is really, really loved by all our customers. And over years, it has done a lot to support what is happening in ARIS. Now, we have brought something that's even more easier to consume the data from ARIS. What did we do? We all know how powerful our ARIS repository search is. Now, but then the repository search leads to something very familiar. It's an ARIS table. So we thought allowing our users to consume the result of a repository search as a data source in our ARIS dashboarding could lead to some power that will also make their job very, very easier to consume some insights into how the data in the ARIS is performing. Let's just go forward and see how that is working, and then we come back and look at the poll results. So here we have some data, which basically talks about a standard database that we ship, which is United Motor Analysis, and we wanted to basically look at models where there is nobody who is responsible. Now, if you go into the edit mode to show where this is, now I'm just trying and adding any random chart. So the moment you add a chart, now you see something called the repository search. So when you click on a repository search, you already see this, the searches that you have done before within the repository. In case you are somebody who has not done any searches previously, or a Viewer Pro user who hasn't had the repository access, you can actually start a new search here and still consume the same kind of data. Now, what did we do before is to essentially make sure that we kind of look for all the models and then filtered by those things that do not have any person responsible. And that's it. And the table format is consumed now in the dashboard. Now this is live. Like every time the data back in the changes, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to redo the search. Everything is already available here in a glance. And then the even more beautiful thing is this dashboard is directly represented in the language of your portal. So I'm happy to share these things with you. I'm also pretty sure our customers will love this. Let's go back and look at what the polls are saying. All right, so it's also interesting to know that data import and export is one of the key challenges. for those customers who haven't yet looked at our new capabilities in regards to the data import and exports, I'm really welcoming them to go for it and look for it. If you really find some more improvements, feel free to write to us. I think our communication will be given towards the end of the presentation, and understanding where to start is also something we will take with us and come back to you how we can improve and help our customers. Thanks a lot, Cecilia.
So I'm really happy to show you the highlights and introduce our latest and greatest for the section of business process analysis. And as you can imagine, we will start with our ARIS AI companion. I think we're super proud of that. But I will then also move on to show what news we are launching to help you, well, reduce time to value in your projects, and also to reduce a little bit total cost of ownership when it comes to, making some changes and especially making changes in the ARIS portal. So let's roll up the sleeves and get started. So when looking at the companion, I thought it's best to maybe start with a quick, okay, I'm clicking, but nothing is happening. So that's unfortunate. Let's see if something is moving here. Okay, here we go. So as said, AI plays a super important role, I think, all across the globe, and we're so proud to be using it for ARIS and the area of BPA and BPM. So the goal is obviously to democratize and to change how you interact with the tool and to really extend the adoption, right? So also non-expert users are getting new ways of interacting with ARIS. And as you can see, and as I mentioned, the evolution really started in our service release 26 during the fall. We basically introduced a basic conversational AI, which where you could start asking ARIS first questions. And so, for example, if you were working in a certain process, users were now able to start asking, what steps are needed to successfully complete this, and you would get a list of steps. So really basic conversational AI, building up that knowledge, and with it came also some sort of fuzziness that allowed you to find things even though you didn't know the exact keywords. So we were matching words and learning about learning a little bit. And along with that, on the design side, we offered some more complex generative AI capabilities that allowed you to generate new process models from text and to basically transform text and interview notes into models. And I think that alone was a crazy boost in productivity. I mean, just copying and pasting interview notes or transcripts and generate content. I think that's super great. In 27, in the SR27, we then saw some incremental improvements, and those were basically, based on feedback we received from pilot customers. So we added, as you can see, some options to generate object and model descriptions. And then we also added, user access and some consumption monitoring, because this was when we basically had our real general availability. So now looking to SR28, you already see some buzzwords, but let's look at the details. So the companion in this release now has been improved even further. So you can ask more query-like questions, as we like to call it. So instead of just getting an answer from one single process, we can basically generate answers from the entire ARIS knowledge base or from the entire repository. You can ask, for instance, in which processes you are involved in your specific role, or ask where certain risks can be found. I think even as an IT or application owner, you could ask, where your system is being used. So conversational questions, more query-like, and asking more complex questions than the basic conversational stuff that we did in the beginning. So it's this type of interaction, I think, that's really interesting for all of you, and also in getting the engagement. You will see that it reduces training efforts. Employees can find the stuff a lot quicker. And on top of that, we've also made available the ARIS help. So you would also be able to ask for help with ARIS itself. So if you wonder about, I don't know, keyboard shortcuts or how to print a model, the companion can be asked for help as well. And we will see that later on in a little demo. On the design side, we're now making sure that you can keep a great level of quality, right? So we can generate new processes or new from text. You can have the descriptions kept, but you want to make sure the quality is great. So objects now created by the companion are actually matched against the repository and being reused. And I know it may not sound much, but it's actually a game changer, because it really allows you to efficiently reuse the existing knowledge in the repository. And I think it's super beneficial, well, obviously for the content creators, but especially also for people who are administrating and doing the cleanup and making sure there's no redundancies. So I think it's a win-win for both sides. Let's have a quick look at how this behaves, and we'll start with the creation of new model. So we want to have a new model to have expiration date management, and I will now just show it from scratch. So we're going to have the option, or use the option, to generate the process, obviously. And I have prepared some interview notes that I copy and paste into the companion here. And I will also select to generate those descriptions. Now I will generate the model. So we can see already the process that was generated. And then here you can see I get the message that the objects are highlighted. And this is where I can see, basically where those objects occur and make sure I reuse them. So I will just make a quick check also about the process itself. Obviously, you always need to make sure the AI doesn't hallucinate. But I insert this, and I can now also make a quick check about those descriptions that I was producing, and it looks quite fine. So in this case, I would go and save the model, and so closing this, and now I also want to have a look at the content at the capability to ask questions. So we're going to actually the enterprise process map, and we're going to open the companion. So I would, for example, like to ask in which processes we have a GDPR risk. And takes a short time, and okay, it seems like there's only one process where we have this risk, and you could also see that, yeah. And maybe you would like to know what other operational risks you have in the company. And you again get a list with the reference to this process. I can check on the diagram to make sure it's a good match. And I can see, okay, it's quite accurate. It's just giving me the list and the answer I was looking for. And last but not least, let's have a look at, I don't know, how can I print this? If I'm, brand new and don't know anything, I could get the help from ARIS. And again, here it's referencing the source, which is the ARIS help. Just one more question, just to give you a bit the impression on the bandwidth. So which processes, or actually no, which activities I could ask are supported by my role, which in this case could be the regional sales rep or whatever role I'm in. The same could, of course, be applied with applications. And again, you see, okay, in this case, we're referencing several processes, and also with the numbering in the back, you can see where the information was found. So I think many new capabilities, many new questions, and I'm sure it's going to be crazy for the productivity. Okay, moving on to another topic that's been at the key of this release. So we wanted to improve portal navigation, and let's start with something that we actually started in our SR27 release. It's about the click behavior and the navigation experience of our end users. So employees navigating the portal will benefit from a simplified navigation pattern. What did we do to accomplish this? So we're basically giving you the option to remove or let's say exclude specific model types from the navigation, so that you can benefit from the rich content that has been created by designers and analysts, but you're not exposed to it in the portal. So I will show you in a second how you can make this happen, and how you basically can put a lot of focus of the end user onto certain navigation patterns you want to obtain. Apart from that, another great improvement of this release is this next capability, and it's basically, our idea portal and the customers interviews that we were running showed that the so-called catalog views are very popular. They grant you quick access to the contents, and they're structured along different categories that can be sorted and filtered. And since they're displayed as tables, they're just very much liked by end users and are indispensable. So we learned that it's just, sometimes they need a lot of adjustment, and that's where you have to have PS or professional services doing the timer. So in this case, we've added a Visivik editor, which allows you to really quickly and flexibly make adjustment to this. Let's come to the last capability before I show you some tricks. And this is basically also aimed at improving portal navigation. It's the option basically to give content consumers a head start and providing a pre-filtered start page at login. It seems like a small thing, of course, but can make a big difference because users basically are just exposed to the most relevant content. And this gives you the option to really focus attention and having, just a focused start page for the users. So let me switch over to ARIS again and just finding the mouse in the right spot. Okay, here we are. So what I want to show you is the navigation behavior. So we introduced this one-click behavior where you can just quickly drill down. Okay, now it went to sleep. Where you can, with one click, just navigate down in the structure. And what's a very common effect is that when you come to a certain level, we see a lot, you see a choice where you need to select. And many end users don't know what to select, so it's just not very guided. So what we can now do is that we can focus their attention, and we're just going to remove this function allocation diagram, just going and switching into the configuration mode. So this is obviously something to set up for the portal administrators, but it's only a few clicks away. So I will just select here and exclude this function allocation diagram. As you can see, I've excluded now this function allocation diagram, and once this is loaded, let me just close the screen and go back to that navigation pattern. We'll go down the exact same path. And once now I click on the monthly closing, you see I don't get the choice. I'm directly down in the details, which is exactly the behavior I wanted to create. Now let's have also a quick look at the stuff on the catalog. As many of you know, we ship a standard catalog with business processes, documents, systems, and roles. Many people or many users would like to see a lot more, so more columns, but also other categories. And we're now introducing this Visivik editor, which I'm sure you already know from others, where you can just very simply set this up, and we can add new categories. I'm just, for demo purposes, showing this by saying, okay, let's add actually a risk catalog. So we're going to add risks. I need to, of course, adjust the item type to display all the risks we have in the repository. I'm most likely going to use also the risk ID as a column. I would like to have the description showing up. I would probably like to see who's the risk manager and also the risk owner. And I guess you're already seeing this is a very quick way of setting this up. I would probably even be interested in seeing the affected activities. And yeah, let's also pull the affected processes. There's, of course, a variety of the best practice things we know from our consulting. So you can set up filters and so on. But I think you get the idea. I've now created this new catalog in the configuration. I'm going to close it, and let's keep the fingers crossed in our live demo. So yeah. It hasn't yet refreshed, but looking at the risk catalog, you can see that I have my risk catalog. I can go look through it. I can sorted. I would be able to maybe filter it based on certain criteria that I enter, and it's giving you a lot of flexibility to set this up. So coming back to the slides, just two more improvements to show that I think are of great interest. And no matter if you work in a transformation project or you're facing, process control and compliance questions, and we already saw that in the companion, what everybody has in common is you need to find the right contents. So we have also improved, again, the search experience and worked on that. And basically, the improvement in this case was to include the documentation attribute. So we can search the documentation attribute, and it's really about improving discoverability. And the second optimization that you see here is to apply preset content filters also on the search results. I think you can already see the pattern. We have that for the start page, and the same, of course, on the search results, where you can really focus attention and have much faster time to finding the right content and simply increasing efficiency. So you see, there's a lot to take from this release. And with that being said, I also have a poll. I would like to know if you have any project in the BPA or BPM space where planned this year where you actually are using AI, or where you at least hope to benefit from the use of AI. So would be my question to you. Okay, and I'm torn between being very surprised to being not surprised at all. I think everybody is trying it out, and I'm happy to hear that, okay, apparently almost 60% are already using it. I hope you're using also the ARIS companion, and we're happy to talk to you about it if you're interested to know more. So thank you, and I'll hand over to Martin.
And with that, I want to start with one capability that's there for some time now, but that has also now a complete redesign. So I want to talk about the ARIS simulation. The ARIS simulation will launch into a beta stage this summer. So it's the simulation in the web, indeed. The feature is built to redesign the complete simulation behavior like you know it. And it's tailored really to deliver to you simulation projects that you can build from the beginning. You can also use your already available projects, models in there. And what's also new is you can also now, with the new simulation, integrate into process mining to analyze the outcome of those simulation projects. So it is directly integrated, so you can directly transfer the data from the simulation into process mining for analysis. But also, if you want to download it, that's also possible. We are starting now with a beta stage, as I said, this summer for customers that are interested in, and looking forward to get also news on that out. So let's have a look at the simulation capability in a short demo. So I always like to start from the landing page of ARIS, so from the ARIS home. And in that, I can open the app launcher, and in here you can see already there's a new button, which is called simulation. So if I click now on this, I will be in my simulation area where I have already a lot of projects in. In that case, I want to go with the order to catch redesign project, as I just want to try to challenge it a bit. So have I really done a good redesign? And that's probably the most important question. I can now try it out with the simulation in the web, and I can also have different scenarios. One is representing the prod version that I currently have in place, and one is trying to test out new scenarios that I have in here. And in that case, you can see I have already selected the model in here. This is the order to cash process, and I have now the ability to run this. If I click on it, I can also open a preview and add other models. But it's not only the model that I add in here, but also everything that's related to a model. For example, resources or other sub-processes that I have in here. And it's also not only a BPMN diagram, it's the related diagrams, for example, also EPC model. But I can also specify, for example, the simulation period. I can specify a warm-up phase in here, also the timings. And there's a lot more to come during this beta phase that we are going into. If I want to start now the run and I want to start my simulation project, I can just select the scenario that I want to run and then trigger this using this button. In the background, you can then see that the simulation is running and the data is automatically transferred into ARIS Process Mining in my case of this demo. But I can also use, for example, the output from the simulation directly for further analysis. In Process Mining, I've prepared this already. You can then use all the capabilities of Process Mining to analyze the simulation. And as Ravi showed already in the beginning, you can also transfer data from Process Mining into a process model for simulation. So we try to really have it in a loop so that you profit from the insights from Process Mining, simulate the process change, and then analyze the outcome again in Process Mining in a Process Explorer like you see over here. But you can also then, and that's also something very interesting, use the model overlay that has been shown by Ravi already in the beginning to overlay the simulation data with the process model that you have initially used for your simulation project. So it's really a loop that allows you to redesign, to challenge the redesign of your process, to validate it, and then bring it into life in a governed way and make sure that everything works as expected. So I think this is something that we will see more in the future on the ARIS simulation and that I'm curious to showing to you in more detail. So the next thing that I want to talk about is ARIS flows. If you haven't heard from it, it's something that we will introduce and that's currently also in beta state. It's a new capability that's currently in beta. As I said, it delivers a new user experience for our customer for especially governance and automation use cases in ARIS, helping our customers to accelerate the time to value that they are looking into. Getting the manual work that's typically be done by ARIS administrator automated in a governed way. You can streamline your routine task. You can build your own automations. You can also integrate with external system using ARIS flows. And with that, we will help you to increase the efficiency for that. So let's also now look into a short demo on what you can expect from the simulation. So from the flows, sorry. So in that case, I will also start in here and look at a process model in that regard. So here you can see that I have a play button in here, and this play button allows me to, for example, trigger this workflow. Webinar share model. If I click now on it, it will start and I will have a form. In the form, I can just select the user, for example, myself, give a short description, and also have a checkbox in here. And then I can submit it. And what this is now doing, it will share this model with myself and also give me a link to that. But how is this now implemented? For this, we need now to go to ARIS flows and have a look at the definition of this automation that I have just shown to you. And you can see in here, it's a very simple flow that I've just built. And it starts with the model. So that's where we display it. It will get the link to the model. It will identify the model owner because this model owner will also get notified if a model has been shared. And then I will share the model in an email. And in that case, I can also have a look at the email editor, and the email editor will, or the email builder, how we call it, will, generate the email with that pattern that you see over here. Hello, shared model with, so that's the person that I have selected. And then it will share the model. It can also put a comment in. It will mention the database, and it will mention the owner of this model that you see over here. And then it will share this model with the person via email. And if the owner is not equal to the issuer, the model owner will also get an email that this model has been shared. I can also adapt this freely. If I don't want to have this, I can just remove this action, and then this model owner will not be informed. So it's fairly easy to use, and we are just working with it with selected demo customers, and we try to make this available in the second half of this year. So the next thing that I want to talk about is a new partnership that we have introduced. So it's a partnership for a new product, for a task mining product. We call ARIS Task Mining. It's a powerful solution that we have in combination with our partner Process Maker. And this capability will make task mining capabilities available for our customers using our contracts. So it's an ARIS product at the end. And it will allow you to record manual processes. In contrast to process mining, that is more focused on the processes that are running in systems. But I think the best use case is to have both together. So having process mining to get the data from the IT system, but also have a look at the manual processes that are performed in, for example, Excel or PowerPoints, also in the Office applications, for example, Outlook. And we can put now both worlds together, uncover hidden tasks, and identify which system are used in those manual steps that the users are doing to perform really the end-to-end process, putting then everything together in ARIS Process Mining to analyze it in one tool. And we are also closely working with Process Maker on enhancements for this capability. So the next thing I want to talk about is, a lot of things that we have done. So besides, simulation and flows, and obviously partnership with Process Maker, we have also some enhancements in the direction of our SAP integration. We now enable the support of SVG in the SAP Cloud LM space. And I think there's also a nice enhancements that we did over here. And finally, we've enhanced transparency into synchronization states for SAP, giving you more control and clarity when managing integration. So there's a label now that will show you the concrete state of this synchronization states in ARIS. So with that, I will come to the next topic, which is ARIS risk and compliance. There are also a lot of enhancements that we did in this area. So I will start with a nice enhancements that we did. You can now define time spans for reviewing a risk and compliance objects, giving not only the owner the option to get notified over deadlines, but also the reviewer in that case. The second thing is we now enhance the self-service configuration. It's easier than ever before to apply governance principles. 4 eyes principle, 2 eyes principle, and even 6 eyes principle was now supported in the self-service configuration. We've also simplified the remaining of ARIS databases in the ARIS risk and compliance context, ensuring smoother updates and clearer references for you. And finally, we've improved management of risk and compliance environments and roles, making it clearer and easier to tailor and gain transparency of responsibilities across teams. So to just have an overview of everything that's necessary. So these enhancements are all about giving you more flexibility, transparency, control about your compliance processes, and enable you to work with it in a more efficient and improved way. So I hope you like all of the things that we have done. With that, I would like to hand over to Dominik.
So when I read all your chat messages, so I really feel the excitement about the new release. So it's already available. You can already work with it. So, but actually to wrap it up a bit, so we've seen so much new features, enhancements, which was about how to make life easier of people who are working in the BPM space, the process mining space, in the modeling space, or with the AI companion. So ease of use and simplicity and time to value are basically key things. But you've also seen actually how the different bits and pieces, the building blocks, for instance, on the mining, more analytical side, for instance, provides valuable data actually for doing prediction of processes. So with the simulation actually that Ravi and also what Martin has shown and the design of the processes, the automation of the processes, you really see that it all grows together into one single suite actually, which helps you to derive value at the end of the day with thinking about what are the world-class processes in your organization to make sure that you have fact-based decisions in place actually, that the processes are actually adhering to what they are supposed to do and that you get quickly up to speed with all your projects. So we are very, very happy. And I also would like to take the opportunity to thank everybody who contributed to the release, not just to the presentation today, because we just are the tip of the iceberg. So many people had hands on deck actually to make this great release and these great enhancements possible. But there's more. So for sure, today's release webinar is about innovation, how we bring it to the market. And we are very, very exciting that this is supposed also to change in the future because we are changing our release processes to a monthly cadence. So our public cloud customers will get monthly innovation updates so they can benefit in a very fast manner on all new features that are coming. So our new customers in our private cloud environments, the private SaaS environment, they can decide if they're on monthly. So new customers are on monthly, typically existing, are actually running on a semi-annual, but they can choose to move to monthly release cadence if they would like to have much, much faster access to innovation. And on-premise customers are actually getting release once a year. So keep that in mind. These are the new standards. If there's any question, feel free to get in touch with me or with your ARIS representative so that we can support you with all the questions that you have around it. So you've seen today the release was about ARIS 28, but you might have already seen that we talked a lot about the April release as an example. And this is a pattern that you will see much, much more coming in the future when it comes to roadmap communication, new releases, because the release numbering will change. So we'll see the year number, you will see actually the month of the monthly release to be made available to you for a hands-on experience. And if you think of now that this is a great idea to be on this monthly Notion to get easy and fast access to new innovation, you can stop your motion from, for instance, semi-annual to the monthly with the April and with the October release. So just keeping that in mind. I know you should have some time to deep dive into the topic as there might be big impact as well on your release cycles, what you're planning internally. So last but not least, I would like to recommend to visit our docs.aris.com page, and you will find there not just all the information about the newest release and also the documentation and help, but also documentation which tells you actually how this release cycle handling is being done now, and that you can actually make it part of your planning and the next steps as well. Having said that, one more thing. For sure, today was all about the great new enhancement, great new features. And there's much more in the pipeline because people are already working on the new stuff and the newest innovation to make you more successful with the product. So stop by in the ARIS community and have a look actually what's next. So there's a report available if you're a registered user, so you can see actually what the teams are right now working on to be prepared to give feedback about that. And to be one of the first actually getting access to those new enhancements and capabilities. With having said that, I know there are plenty of questions. So let's now have a look how many questions we can answer. So I will pick some of them. So first question that I'm having here is actually, do we need an additional license to be able to use the ARIS AI companion? So Cecilia, can you pick that up?
Yes, I can pick that up. Yes, there is an additional license for the companion, and what it does is basically you have to purchase credits, which you can use, and then we don't differentiate if you're asking questions or using it to generate a process or use it in the process mining space. We don't care about that, but there is, you need to have credits to use for using the AI companion.
All right. So next one, I already shared it accidentally, actually was the question. So when will SR28 be deployed to cloud customers? So this is already ongoing. So we can make it very short. So you have the ability to schedule an upgrade from within your application. So have a look at that. So this is already something which is ongoing right now. So then there's one question, which is for sure a simple one. Can we please get access to the presentation and to the recording? For sure, this will be made available to all of you. So what's the next one? Let me check. So I think there's a nice question for you, Martin. It relates to ARIS flows. So will ARIS flows replace APG, ARIS process governance?
The short answer, yes. So we are working on it. It will not be a hard cut. So you can still use the APG for your governance processes, then switch slowly to flows. So there is also the option to have it side by side running. So this is especially also done for the beta customers currently. So they get not directly stop the APG and then start with flows, but they are using both currently in parallel.
All right. There's one more relating to what edition is it? Is it cloud only? Is it on-prem? Can you say something about that?
So you need to have the ARIS Enterprise private cloud or the on-prem currently. So this will be in the first release.
So then actually, I think there were several questions when you showed actually the simulation. So actually the question was, which licenses do I need for the simulation? So is it the existing pack? Is it something new? Maybe share the current line of thinking.
So currently we are planning, so it's not yet implemented, to be honest, but we are planning to have a separate license. Like you know, for the current ARIS simulation license, it will be a user license. The current simulation license is with the architect, which will not be there. So as the new simulation will be in the web, we need a new license for that, but there will be a, we are talking also about replacement options, but you will hear from this back in the future.
Right. Then there's a great question about the AI companion and the modeling. Cecilia, can we generate EPCs with the ARIS AI companion and based on our company specific process? I think it's process conventions.
So yes, you can generate EPCs. This is already supported. To do it to the specific conventions that you have set up within your company, we still need to work on that, but it is a topic for us on the roadmap yet.
All right. Then back to Martin, actually. So a question, are you planning on preparing a training demo video for the simulation capabilities, as this for sure proves to be very powerful? So I think it's a good question.
Yes. So there will be a training for the simulation capabilities, like we do for R. So I just this week had a call with our training team. So we are starting with it this summer also, so that we will have training material available.
All right. Then there's a nice one, because I know that at least I have some people here in the room already working or testing it. But maybe from a standard feature perspective, can I write my JavaScript custom report yet?
That's such a great question. I wish it could, but maybe ChatGPT can. I don't know. But kidding aside, so that would be amazing. But so far, like I said in the beginning, it's we're just taking it step by step. And also, I think I saw it further down. There was a question about the interaction patterns. No, we cannot yet speak with our companion as you can with ChatGPT, for example. So it's we need to teach him or her. Yeah.
All right. So it's more for the search and not yet for a conversation with the chatbot. Yeah.
Yeah. But
of catalogs, maybe let's pick the next one up. Is the filter of catalogs possible? In the filters of catalogs, is it now possible to filter raw rows, I guess, with empty values. Cecilia?
Yep. I'm not 100% I understand, but so you can, yes, you can sort, of course, and you can also show and see where the fields are empty.
Right.
Which rows are empty, yes.
Then I think the question was raised several times. So is the AI companion cloud/SaaS only? So for this time, it's a cloud SaaS only, but we're looking at different options, but don't want to share more at this point in time. So if there's a question, feel free to get in touch with me or with the PM team. So what else? Can you demo any advanced search criteria we can now use and connect to input dashboards or just additional searches? So I think that's one for Ravi/Cecilia.
So basically, it supports every kind of research that you do on general basis, right? There's nothing special about it. So all you have to do is, initially have a search with all the filtration, everything, that you would want, and you can already reference that in the dashboard. So it's the same powerful repository search, just being reused elsewhere.
All right. I think there was one question then in regards of actually licensing. I think we answered it already. So the SaaS AI companion current is actually made available with an additional license to be shipped. So I suggest to get in touch with us, as for sure there's this whole large language model based service in the background, which also needs to be made available to make the text to process model, for instance, available. So if there is an interest on your side, and I feel actually many of you are quite interested in AI capabilities, so get in touch with us. So then what else? Maybe let's pick the few last ones. Let's take this one. Maybe one for the roadmap, I believe. Cecilia, can I also use images to feed the companion to create a process?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, not yet. But I'd be really happy to have, to be in an exchange and to get in touch with many of you. I think there's a lot of ideas and interest. So, but it's a process to learn and to implement. So no images to feed the companion yet, I'm afraid.
But it's definitely at the back of our mind to make such things available. I think there's also one related, which is about the question if SOPs, standard operating procedures, can be used actually to generate process models. What's your take on that?
Yes and no. It should, but it depends on the amount and, of course, how it's formulated. But I would almost say, please try it out. So we can only get better the more questions there come into the tool and that come into the companion. So I'd be really happy to have more of a conversation, a dialogue going in this regard. All
right. The session ends in 3 minutes, as we at least can see here on the screen. Let's take the final question. I think it's one for Ravi. Conformance check. Does it support BPMN 2.0?
Oh, yes, it does.
All right. Short answer. So I would like to thank everybody again for attending today's webinar, also for the excitement that you shared with us here in the chat and also based on the questions.